are at the Belgian Embassy in Nairobi, and we are here to speak to a man on a mission, the outgoing Belgian ambassador to Kenya, Ambassador Peter Maddens, about matters environmental diplomacy, Kenya, and his long-standing relationship with Kris the Gap.
This one?
Protocol. The complete. Let me see. The complete handbook of diplomatic, official, and social.
I have a couple of books here and magazines and stuff like that. And one of the more interesting ones I have is the KQ In-Flight magazine from July 2024, where they actually did a piece on my green embassy, or the net zero embassy as we call it. We've created our own cooking gas. We've recycled all our water. We grow a lot of our vegetables and our herbs. It was a project that was inspired by a safari camp in Masai Mara, run by a couple of Belgians. Not just is it that it's like the green embassy and net zero, and it's the first net zero embassy in Nairobi and the first net zero embassy in the Belgian diplomatic network worldwide. It also serves to be an inspiration for anybody else who wants to be green on their own, in their own house, in their own building, in their own office. So what we've done is not just build the thing, but we've also made it a big instrument of public diplomacy. We do tours every week. We've received a bunch of people. We're over 800 now people that we've shown it to. And one of the very first ones was this piece in July of 24 in Msafiri, the KQ. Apart from the fact that everybody knows my story, that I have this deep bond with Kenya. I keep saying that it's half my heart that's Kenyan. Apart from that, it's also given me a great opportunity to reach out to all kinds of people here in Kenya who are interested in what we're doing here with the embassy, and in showing that it can be done at a small scale, that climate change does not only need to be combated at government level with big solar parks or big wind parks or big geothermal installations. No, it can and actually must be done also at the individual level. You can produce your own electricity, you can recycle your own kitchen waste, you can recycle your own water, you can grow your own vegetables very cheaply and very efficiently without having to resort to complicated import of vegetables or import of fuel and actually be green about it. So this is the direction we're all going, and I'm sure of that. And what our project here has done is shown that it's possible. President Kenyatta and I have a bit of a history in that we went to the same school, St. Mary's in Lavington, and we were actually classmates. So we've known each other forever. And it was actually pretty funny. I was sitting in the room at the back of the room being very discreet because of course I wasn't the ambassador yet. And I'm not allowed to be very active as long as I haven't presented credentials. But he sees me and he comes up to me and we give each other this huge bear hug. And you know, the team around the president were all going, "Who's this Mzungu?" And then all the Belgians were going, "Who's this guy who knows Uhuru so well?" So it was actually pretty funny. At that breakfast meeting, there was one guy with a phone taking selfies, hundreds and hundreds of selfies, which is what he was still doing at the time, or already doing at the time. And that was Olivier, and he introduced himself. And he said, "Well, I'm Olivier, I run Close the Gap in Mombasa. And apparently I understand you're the new ambassador, and I think we're going to be working together quite regularly." And yeah, that happened. So he took a selfie, and that started going around. And we've actually, you know, it's not just working together, we've actually become friends. Our families are friends, and I think you know, this is the kind of friendship that doesn't depend on his or my job. This will be something that'll keep going on.
Well, Peter, you have to deserve the finished product here.
Earn my coffee, yeah.
One of the real innovations Close the Gap brought, I would say, to the ecosystem of digital inclusion in developing and emerging economies has been our DigiTruck program. Peter has also been a very strong supporter, and he has visited quite a bit of them on the ground in Kenya, but also the prototype in Belgium. The DigiTruck basically is to support digital inclusion projects in areas where or the security is not there to build proper infrastructure, or where the likelihood changing conditions in a certain area are so high that the time of building infrastructure might actually take too much time for the purpose of what you're building it for. And that's why actually the truck can actually move. Think about refugee camps, think about war and conflict zones, think about droughts. So this DigiTrack can actually move and make sure that the stakeholders using it and the beneficiaries are always getting the digital inclusion they need, whether it's for training, whether it's for healthcare supervision or medical assessments. And in that sense, being now for 7 years with Close the Gap in Mombasa, as an environment where it's relatively easy to get access to good quality containers, we have now a joint venture here where we build them in Kenya by Kenyans, and actually from Mombasa they go throughout the continent. As we all know, Balozi Maddens is a very approachable and very direct person, and so if you connect with him well, it's also very easy to become friends and actually also talk about, I would say, non-business stuff and not opportunistic transactional discussions only. And I think a friendship obviously is not something that happens overnight. It's something you have to sometimes, somehow build a friendship relationship by having common experiences, by walking a part of the road together on many angles of your life. And I think I was very blessed with all the activities that Close the Gap was having, both in Belgium but also in Kenya, and also with our boys and Debbie, relating very well also with Kris. Kris actually, I believe, has, and I think I can say this here in this context, she has been the glue of bringing, I think, the family relationships together and building that family trust. And yeah, today I don't look at him that much as a Balozi anymore, even though I respect his function for sure, but he's really a close friend, a mentor, a business partner, somehow even a bit like a father to Debbie and me, helping us to actually avoid, I would say, making mistakes. And typically what an elder is trying to do with the younger generation. I think Peter and Kris are terrific, I would say, elders in the real sense of the word, taking care of the new generation and helping them to actually have a more prosperous life and not making mistakes that they somehow have seen happen themselves in their vast experience of their life. If there is one word that typically resonates if I think about Peter and Kris and our experience in being for over 5 years now friends with them, dear friends with them here in Kenya, it's the word stewardship. What is stewardship? I've been thinking about it, but I don't think there is a translation of this word in Dutch, in my mother tongue. But basically what I see as stewardship, and in the context to Peter and Kris, is actually leaving a place behind in a better condition than that you have got it. With Peter and Kris, obviously he's leaving the embassy in a better place. And you can name everything he's done there. He made it net zero, the team and the bonding and the energy of all the staff today, I think, has never been better as before. And it's for sure a best practice for other missions abroad. But Peter invests in the depth of each visit he's doing. He looks at people as opportunities, and he looks at people, he's kind of doing a gap analysis of this guy or this girl is showing me something or is identifying me an issue or even an opportunity, and he's investing directly into the depth of what is presented to him, not just to seize the moment and cut a ribbon or handshake, but to think, how can I make sure that this short moment of having brought me here as a Balozi in my official capacity, how can I really make sure that this is also bringing something on a structural long-term basis? It's a couple energy, it's a couple force, and that's really also what I take away from Peter. Stewardship and couple force, power couple force. And I hope that when I get to the age that they have, that Debbie and I will have walked a bit in their very big shoes to make the same, I would say, magic happen in our joint professional and private paths of life.